our identity defensively centers around our physicality up front. And we've got to have that same kind of identity offensively. And we've got the experience. We got guys that want to, but I'm determined to do some things just to really, kind of bury that mindset inside of them that this is the way we want to play. And I think that the leadership from guys like Dustin and Parker and Hamp, those older guys, I thought that they did a great job today. I thought the first offensive line practiced very well today. And so I think I've got to be more deliberate. Coach Maddox got to be more deliberate, just if we want to be what we can be.
How did some of the young guys do in their first film session in a game-like scenario?
They got the point. So that was good. I thought they responded today. I mean, the young running backs that I was on their butt on Saturday, I thought they responded. They didn't pout. They owned it. Now I think a lot of that's the leadership of Rajay Harris sitting in there saying, "Hey, this isn't a personal attack at you. This is how you're playing." And helping them understand that, hey, you got to grow from it, or you're never going to play. And you came here to play. And I thought that they owned it, and they went out today, and I thought they had better effort, and I thought that they tried to be more physical. We did a third down period competition, and backs. One big thing is they got to be able to step up in protection, and we brought a lot of pressures at them right in their face, and they stepped up and tried to take on those linebackers. Sometimes it's ugly, okay, but they got to learn how to do that. It's a big part of playing the running back position.
Will you guys continue to rotate a quarterback this week, and any time on there for deciding?
Well, I think we want to make a decision sooner than later. I think that it depends on how these 3 days go this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as to how we continued on into Saturday.
After going back looking at the film from the scrimmage Saturday, what were some positives that you took away from it?
I think our coverage defensively was a positive. Because I think we're pretty talented in the wide receiver room, and I thought we held up pretty good. I thought that our tempo was good. We want to continue to push that pace to go faster. I think that you had some flashes, individually on Saturday. I think Zakai Barker is having a very good preseason camp and is really doing a great job from a leadership position for a young guy. On offense, I really like how some of our guys, maybe people kind of forget about it. I like how they're approaching camp. Brock Spalding, I think he's finally, becoming what we thought he could be. He's doing a great job on special teams. He's doing a great job blocking on the perimeter. He's making contested catches. Just really excited to see that from him. And speaking of special teams, that's probably the biggest bright spot from Saturday. Is just I think we've got a chance to make some explosive plays on special teams.
How's Kerry Kane doing coming off this?
Good. I'm really surprised. I told him that. It's been a little less than a year since he tore his ACL, and usually you don't see a guy back at the level he is this soon. But that's a credit to A, the doctors, the job they did, but B, the job that he did attacking rehab. He looks, you'd never know. I mean, he's not wearing a brace. He's running very, very well. You'd never know he was injured last year. So it's great to see. Happy for him.
As far as tackling goes, is that something you don't know if you fully got it until week one, or can you see enough during practice and scrimmage?
Well, you see a lot in scrimmages now. That was one of our big emphases. Our two big things coming out of Saturday for the defense was our pursuit, because the tempo and the heat got us, and our pursuit, it suffered as a result. And then our tackling, we had too many missed tackles on Saturday. Now that makes you like that from the other side, because Winston Wright, he's hard to get on the ground, or Rajay Harris, he's hard to get on the ground. But we expect ourselves to be a good tackling football team, and our pursuit is as part of our core.
With the linebacker you mentioned, Zakai, how did some of the young guys like redshirt freshman DJ Johnson, Greg Turner, that group coming along as far as maybe being ready to play some?
I thought Julian Davis had a really good day on Saturday. I'd like to see him continue to improve on that. DJ and Greg, I've challenged them. I expect more from them than what we're getting from them right now. And it's not a lack of want to, but they've got to do a great job on special teams, and they've got to continue to evolve, in that linebacker room. we do have some depth at some other positions, and so we have some guys with some position flexibility, and we're gonna play around with that a little bit this week also. I think Mike Edwards is having a solid preseason camp. I think Day Wilson, I thought he had a really good scrimmage Saturday. It's probably the best he's looked since he's been here. And then I thought he had a good practice today. So you got those 3 guys you feel really good about. We just got to, figure out, who number 4 and number 5 is, because we'll probably travel 5 linebackers. Anything else? Okay. All right. Have fun with the coordinators.
Okay.
Coach, 3 weeks in, going into the 3rd week again, how would you kind of assess where your offense is right now?
I really like where we're at, and our guys they're bought into what we're trying to do, and we've put a lot on them in the last 3 weeks. Just because, like we tell them, we're just trying to give them as much as we can going into a game, as far as a menu of things we can go to and be able to go execute at a high level. And I'm really, really pleased with those guys. It doesn't matter if it's that first group, second group, third group. I think they've all done a good job just trying to absorb all the information that we've given them and trying to execute it the best they can.
Coach used to say with the quarterbacks, it sounds like you all continue to rotate a little bit. Said the next 3 days could play a big role in how it goes going forward. Just kind of how would you update that competition? Yeah, I mean the last 7 months have been big, but this week is huge for those guys. Just just Coach Hughes and I wanting to make a decision as fast as possible, just so that guy can get as many reps as he possibly can, with that first group. And it's hard because they've both done a great job. They're both executing at a high level. And the thing about them, they're both competitive as guys that I've been around. They both want it. But it is a huge week, and it'll all come down to the same things that it's been the whole time, just consistency, protecting the football, and making the guys around you better.
There's going to be one guy that's happy and one that's disappointed. Do you talk about that now leading up to it, or do you cross that bridge when you get there?
It's really cross that bridge when you get there because, in both their minds, they think they're the guy, as they should. They both played really well. And I want them that way, but at the end of the day, we got to make a decision, and we got to have one guy that knows he's the dude. He's the guy that we're going to put our faith and trust in, and that we're going to ride with no matter what. And so it's big boy football, and the guys are competing for jobs every single day, not only at that spot, but a couple other spots. And they know that. They're both older, mature kids that have played college football. They know that the job's on the line, and that only one guy's going to get it.
So you guys got to use Coach Com Saturday during the scrimmage. You were able to communicate with your quarterbacks. How did you like that? How did that go?
It was good. It was a good practice. I'm glad we'll get a couple more test runs at it. The biggest difference on Saturday was actually having the kill switch with the mic going out at 15 seconds. We have not had that obviously in practice without a play clock. And that was nice. And hopefully we don't ever reach that too often, but there will be times that we do, and make sure that I'm locked in and seeing when that thing goes off. But I love it. I think the quarterbacks love it. Just me being able to give them a little piece of information on every snap. It's changed the game for sure.
How much are you learning about your offensive players with having to deal with all the looks, the stunts, and the blitzes that Blake throws at you?
There's no doubt about it. That's what's encouraging for us, and just knowing how good Blake and those guys are. And I think we know it, but I don't think we quite realize how good they really, really are. I mean, they are deep as can be up front. They give you a lot of different looks, and so for us in our side of the ball, the more success we can have, the more consistent success, sustained success that we can have. It gives us confidence being able to go move the ball against anybody in this league. Because I've got a hard time just imagining us playing a defense that's going to give us as many looks with this quality of players as we see every day in practice. And it's made us better. It's made me better as a play caller, just having to get creative in how we do certain things. Because it's not only the scheme, but Coach Harrell and the rest of that defense staff, they're great coaches, man, and they coach those guys extremely hard. They play hard, and that's to be expected. They've done it for several years now, and so it's made us better as an offense, and And that's what you want. You want that competition, because at the end of the day, here in about 2.5 weeks, we're going to be on the same sideline, and it's going to be what we want.
How are the big guys dealing with the speed of the tempo and staying on beat?
Yeah, I've said it before. They got the hardest job, especially in fall camp when it's 95 degrees, but that heat index is about 110. It's been an adjustment for them, but now a week and a half, almost 2 weeks into camp, they're starting to play themselves into shape. They can run all they want in the summertime, but until you really go do it and have to go lean on somebody and do it really fast, it just takes time. But they're getting their legs under them, which is encouraging. I thought it jumped on them a little bit in the scrimmage. We came out quick, executed at a high level, and all of a sudden we got tired and we didn't execute at the same level. We missed communications up front, and that just takes time. And the other thing is those scrimmages it's not a real game, because they go and then they're up about 5 minutes later. You're not getting that break in between series, and so but it trains them for the real deal. And I like where they're at. I love where they're at. I love the way that they're playing. They're playing with a certain edge and physicality, and they got to be the guys that lead up front for sure.
Coach Houston mentioned some sloppiness Saturday, and may have been on some over there, but how about offensively? Is there fixable stuff you identified and talked to the guys about?
No doubt, and that's that was the message yesterday. I was disappointed with Saturday, but I was not discouraged. If you're discouraged, you don't have hope. You've lost hope in what you're doing or the people around. I was disappointed because I have high expectations for what we have in the room. And a lot of it came down to just not operating when we're tired. And that, again, that takes reps, that takes time. That first scrimmage, you're 10 days into camp, and guys are still playing themselves into shape for where we need to be. But that was the thing, is everything was fixable. It's not a personnel issue. It's not a quarterback issue. It's simply just not doing the simple things that we've done all spring and all camp. And the guys know that, and that's the thing of where we're at now. I feel like within the process is as soon as things happen like that, the guys know it. That I don't have to tell them. Coach Maggs don't have to tell the whole line. They know when they screw something up, and that's what's encouraging to me, is those guys are starting to figure that stuff out for themselves.
What's it been like having Rajay back full go? How has he looked during camp?
It's been nice. Just not only just the player that he is, but just the leadership. You miss that. Just a guy that's got a smile on his face. That when a run's there, he's going to hit it. But just his overall leadership more than anything. You love the great player, but you love the person even more. And just the energy that he brings. Can't wait to get Marlon back rolling here soon. And I feel really good about where that room will be.
With the receiver room, who's impressing you right now? I know Chase is a little banged up. Who's kind of stepping up?
Yeah, it's really by committee, and I've said that all along, and it's going to take every guy in there, because I could tell you the usual names that Winston and Anthony and those guys, but we had a 5-play cut up this morning in the unit meeting about Brock Spalding and how he's played this fall camp and how he's played with the ball and without the ball in his hand. The times that Jari's been in there, he's been electric with the ball in his hand. You got young guys flashing, which is what you want. And so there is some real depth in that room. The hardest part for us is just going to be finding ways to use everybody. And we've got ways, but we got to get the ball in certain people's hands, because we've got a lot of explosive guys in that room.
Are you hoping once a guy does get into the game that he's in there solely for that entire drive? That way you don't sub, therefore the defense can't?
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point, and that's why, we have mechanics of, when we can get guys in and when we can sub. But other than that, they got to know when they're in the game, they don't come out, because of just how we play, how we want to play. When you start doing that, it gets hard to do.
And with y'all obviously been rotating quarterback throughout camp, has it been challenging at times to find a rhythm from day to day? Has that been a side effect at all, or is that how would you assess that?
No, I wouldn't say so, because I don't change the way we call the game when either one of the guys in there. They're both really talented. They got big time arms. They're both kind of equal athletically, and so that's what's been nice, for me, just being able to call the game the same way. I don't feel like I have to change anything up from guy to guy. They probably would tell you differently. They probably feel like they struggle getting a little rhythm just because they're looking out there at different times with different people. But that also comes down to just why, we want to get a guy in there, that way he can feel as comfortable as he can be with the time that we have left.
First of all, shout out to the Little League Softball World Series champions. That's awesome. My daughters all three play softball at Sarah Law, and just so I got to know some of those kids out there, and just an amazing group of girls and what they've been able to accomplish. And just my wife and my family were at the game yesterday, and I got to walk out there for the very last out. Saw it a little bit on TV from the office here, and just the way this community and the way the city of Greenville supports, our local sports, our community, our youth leagues, and also East Carolina. Just what an awesome place to live, and it's been a really special place. And I think I tweeted that out yesterday. But that was just, kudos to those girls and those coaches and the whole city of Greenville that made that happen and just put on the World Series as well. So just wanted to start with that.
Coach, started week 3 of camp. Just how would you kind of assess where the defense is right now?
Yeah, I told the guys, said, hey, we've made improvements, we've made steps, but we got a long ways to go. We got 19 days for our first contest, and we got to grow a lot between now and then. I mean, if we don't get any better this week, we in trouble. And we got to keep every single day stacking days, making improvements, individually, collectively, as a group, and as a football team. And there's, you can focus on me, which is good, but you got to focus on our defense. You got to focus on our team and our program, and everything you do matters. How you attend meetings, how you sit in a meeting, how you attack a meeting, to pre-practice, to a drill, to a team setting, and then taking care of your body. So it's more than just, hey, I'm going to go out and have a great practice. It's a 24/7 thing that we got to keep growing.
I asked Coach Houston about tackling. Is that something, if you got it week 1, or can you figure it out during the preseason? He said he was a little disappointed Saturday,
Yeah.
But I'm sure you expect that to improve.
Yeah, I think we always, you go out and you finally get a chance to evaluate yourself. You're going to find some things you're not happy with and disappointed in, and I think one of those was tackling. You got to go May, June, July without tackling anybody, and you get back about 3 or 4 practices tackling, and that's obviously some things going to stand out. But if we want to be our goals and we want to be a really good defense, I think we got to be really good tacklers. And some of that is, just pursuit angles, poor footwork, some effort things that we got to continue to focus on. And I think the only way you get better at tackling is by tackling. I mean, you can do all these little drills in summertime, all these little drills in your shorts and your little helmet on, but until you get the pads on, until you take somebody to the ground, that's the practice it really takes, and you got to get that work in. So we got to continue to focus on that this week. We did that in our shells today. We'll be full pads tomorrow and Wednesday, and get some other opportunities to focus on that. And I told the guys, there's no in between. You can't be an average. You're either a good tackler or a bad tackler. There's no in between. And the guys went and tackled that today, and we got to continue to do that tomorrow and Wednesday, and getting for preparations for scrimmage Saturday.
Coach Mags, he was intense to say the least at times.
Yeah.
Just what have you seen out of him coming in with yourself?
Everything you saw from Damon Magazoo as a player is everything you see from him as a coach. And I see the highlights and the clips, and we call him the legend around here. But everything that I've heard about Coach Magazoo as a player, you see it as a coach. A very attention to detail guy, intense. High football IQ, and he wants his players to have that same mentality and the same way he approached the game. And I think, with Jordan Hoff and Devin King and even some of the younger guys, you can see Omar Rogers, you can see that growing in those guys. So he's been really good for that room. It's great to have a Pirate back on our staff and our defensive staff as well.
When you bring in a coach like that, I mean, obviously he hasn't been in your system. Like, how long does it take him to get caught up to maybe your scheme?
Yeah, I think anytime, we bring new guys into the building, no different than we bring a different teammate into our locker room. It takes a little while for that guy to adjust to, maybe our culture or our schematics or our playbook. But I'll say this about Damon Magazoo and even Rico Zachary. I mean, they walk in and you would think they've been here for several years. I mean, they fall right in line with how Coach Houston runs a program. Everything that he believes in, they believe in, the culture piece, and then defensively, schematically as well. They've picked right up on it and do a great job of coaching their young men. They're great representatives in their room for their players as fathers, as dads, as husbands, and I think that goes a long way. And they did a great job of just building relationships with young men in our program. So that's all you can ask for. If we got great people in our program, great coaches, our players are going to do the same and reflect that.
After the scrimmage, Big Tay said that he thought some guys took some plays off, and he signaled himself out when talking about that. Are the young guys, are they coming along and kind of having that self-evaluation as much as some of the leaders are on this team?
Yeah, two things I would say. So, we early in camp, we still got a long ways to go conditioning. And then our offense, as fast as they go, it'll point that out real quick. And that's, going to be an advantage for us as well. And the heat jumped on us a little bit on Saturdays. Those are probably the things that kind of was a factor of that. But, if everybody could walk into the program and they could protect that culture, that effort-based defense, playing as hard as you can play every single snap, then this thing would be easy. But that's not the standard, and the standard's way up here for those guys, and that's why Big Tay told you that. Like, Big Tay has a standard that he's going to play all out every single snap, and if he's not going to give you that, he's going to be straight up with you. And our kids aren't going to lie about it. They're going to say, Coach, I took one off there. I got to be better there, and they're going to go get it fixed, and they're going to strive for excellence because that's, they want to be the best in our conference. They want to be the best in the defense, and they understand what that takes, especially the older guys. The younger guys, they keep coming along. We have our side of the ball meetings in here defensively, and these first two rows are older guys, 4th, 5th, 6th-year players. They already know what I'm going to talk about. Everything I say, they finish the sentence. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th rows are young guys, first-year guys in the program. Maybe a second year, they're still learning. But every day you can see them kind of, hey, they're getting the hang of it. They're coming more, getting more of in the fold there. So we got to keep bringing them along and keep building that depth and keep, closing that gap between them and the older guys.
Last year, you guys were really good in the red zone. You looked good in the red zone on Saturday. Where do you think this team is compared to last year with the red zone defense?
Red zone's a toughness thing. And I think, talk to the guys this morning, it's not just mental toughness we got to play, or physical toughness we got to play with, but mental toughness. In the red zone, you got to be mentally tough. You can't worry about last play. They hit a big play to Winston, how they get down there, whatever it may be. You just tell them it's time to keep points off the board. I say if you hold team to field goals, they go kick 5 field goals. It's going to be it's going to be a tough day for them. And if you keep touchdowns off the board, so we got to have that same mentality. Red zone defense, third down defense, takeaways. It's got to be the big things that we focus on.
Y'all work, D Nash at corner.
Yep.
A lot this weekend. How's he doing there? Could he still play some safety?
Dontavius Nash could do a lot of things. He's a very talented young man. He understands the game. He can play corner. He can play safety. He can play nickel. We got all our third down stuff going in this week, so he's going to play some different spots back there. Just been really impressed with him. He's put a stripe on his helmet to kind of be more disciplined with his eyes, and he's got boxing gloves on his hands so don't grab and pull. So he's making himself be more disciplined. Just really proud of Nash and what he's been able to accomplish, and been moving around. I think that's the ultimate team guy. Is a guy that understands I'll play anywhere for my team, and just really proud of him right now and what he's doing back there. And he's got to keep growing, keep progressing, and he's came a long ways in the last 10, 12 days, 14 days, whatever it is. But we got to keep making those steps to the process of, hey, where we want to be August 31st.
How did the verbal communication with Barker go on Saturday?
Yeah, the player to coach, or coach to player. Zakai would probably like to turn that thing off at times. And I ask them, and they're very honest with me. I think it saves you a few times, especially if you have somebody misaligned, getting somebody lined up, or, but I'm not sure Zakai really needs it. Zakai, he knows everything. Like, he called a play out before it ever, well, he calls multiple plays out before they ever happen, but, he called it out before I ever saw it. But it's helpful, especially just getting a call in quicker, getting us lined up quicker, those type of things. The one thing Zakai told me, and I think we've talked about this, is if it's tempo coach, just give me the call and that's all I need. Sometimes you can give them too much information. No different for if me and you were in the three-point contest and somebody's trying to tell us how to shoot the basketball right in the middle of our shot. We don't need it. We don't need that coaching. We just go play. So.
It seems like Day is starting to make
Yeah.
it a little bit.
Yeah. He looks like a different young man than he did in the spring, I think we're starting to see, a very talented linebacker and Day Wilson. Damian Wilson, he just can move around. He's made some really good plays, just tracking the football in a toss play. The ball that was picked up on a fumble, he was doing really. I mean, he's showing that he can run too, tracking the football, starting to pick up on it, feeling more and more comfortable in our defense. And we see that a lot from transfers. They come in mid-year, they go through the spring, and they just look okay, because they're trying to figure it out, not really playing fast. And by the time summer goes around, you get through another install, they get around the guys, they feel more comfortable in the locker room and in the classroom, and then you see it come fall. I mean, we could, DJ Ford, BJ, all those guys before, same thing. You go through the spring, it's like, then you come in the fall, like, okay, he's going to be a guy. And I think certainly Day, if he keep growing and keep progressing, he will be.
Any other young guys, whether they redshirt freshmen, new guys that are kind of maybe starting to show a step up?
Yeah, I would say, you're always careful to talk about freshmen. But one young man that's been really impressive is Jamarle Riddle. He's been playing field safety for us. Comes from a very good high school program at Camden County High School down in Georgia. A good friend of mine, Jeff Herron, coached him. But he's just done a really good job back there, communication, really good fluid movement skills. And, he looks like he's been here for a year. Obviously you always worry about freshmen hitting the freshman wall. But, knock on wood, so far he's a guy that, fans wouldn't know about that kind of caught some coaches' eyes, and he's earned the respects of his teammates for sure.